Welcome back to episode 5 of the Youngest Real Estate Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how to find a mentor. So Johanna, let's start off. Why do you think you need a mentor?
Okay, so I think we were just having this conversation. You and I are very scatterbrained. Like, we want to run in a million different directions because of who we are. Like, we just like trying new things, everything, and we get good at something. And I guess that you feel like you get almost comfortable in that space that you immediately want to run in a different direction. So part of the reason why I think I personally need a mentor, and for the most part a lot of entrepreneurs like ourselves, is because we have so many ideas. Like, our brain is just nonstop going and going, and this person can kind of keep you in your lane.
Well, it's almost like you get so many ideas, and you get good at something, and you want to go through and add something else in that's just not you, and you want to go off and you see what other people are having success with, and you want to try to integrate it, but at the same time, everybody's business is different, and so it kind of helps wrangle in those thoughts to where it's like, okay, what's realistic and what's just, what are we going a little too crazy on? Like, I know I'm horrible about that.
No, I think especially any young entrepreneur is going to be that way, because we just haven't done enough to know any better. So yes, you start getting good at something, you're like, oh man, but they're doing something, and it looks like they're doing better, because you don't realize how good you're doing unless that external mentor can tell you, hey, you're actually good at this, focus, stop trying to do this and that, and just do what you're good at, and you're doing really well at it, so just keep doing that.
Yep.
You need a reminder. But other than that, why try and reinvent the wheel when you can learn from this person's mistakes?
Yeah, well, and I also feel like there's a certain aspect of this to where it's like, it's you get so good, and I think one of the hardest parts of any business, and especially this business, is just continuously scaling, right, without making it to where you're working unreasonable hours, right? And so, like, I'll tell you, that's definitely something that I try to go off and recreate the wheel, and sometimes need to be tamed back in to see what's realistic, what's not, and then also like you said, just kind of get a direction, kind of learn from their mistakes, but also learn from their experiences, because they're able to go through and say, okay, hey, this is what you need to do to get to $17 to $30 million in production, right? Let's not do this, let's do this, and let's just tweak certain things, opposed to going off and doing that. If you don't have a mentor, here's the thing, you're going to stretch yourself too thin, and before you know it, you're looking down, and your production's down because you're so thin across the board, to whereas if you just stay focused on what you're doing and you build off of that, naturally year over year it's going to continue to grow. Maybe not as rapid as what you want, but that's where that patience aspect also comes in my opinion.
Right, exactly. Or if you are someone that's hyper focused, and because my brother is very much that way. He has his own glass company, and he's very hyper focused about, I'm not doing anything but glass, and this is exactly how I'm going to do it. But then you get so focused that you can't see your blind spots. Yeah. And this mentor is going to be able to see these blind spots, because they're not you. They're able to see you from outside. They've done what they've done, done well in their business, and maybe someone had to tell them what their blind spots were, and so now they're able to see yours, especially again if they've already sort of gone through that path. Again, it's never going to be the same path for everyone, but it can go both ways, right? It can either be, hey, stay in your lane, you're trying to you're driving between 3 lanes right
getting
now.
Getting too cute.
Yeah, you as y'all put it, y'all are getting too cute with your lead gen, or you are so focused on your lane that you just can't see anything else, and you might be missing out on opportunities that aren't going to derail you, but instead drive you further and faster.
No, of course. Well, and here's the other thing. You mentioned blind spots, and I want to kind of piggyback off of that, right? Not only do they point out your blind spots, but they're also going to give you the constructive criticism that you're not going to give yourself. They're going to give you that criticism that you go, damn, I wish you wouldn't have said that, but you hit the nail on the head. Mm-hmm. And they're going to give you the things that are going to make you cringe up a little bit, but you also know that you need to change. And that's the ultimate way to get better, is that, is if you're the only person analyzing your business, chances are nothing's going to ever really change, right. But if you get outside perspective to where they can say, hey, you need to change this, and this, and you're going to see things increase, then it's, natural. If you start making those changes, you're going to see success, because they're telling you to do it for a reason.
Mm-hmm. You have to be able to take constructive criticism. Also, if you can't if you can't take it, then you probably shouldn't even be looking for a mentor or a coach right now. You have to be if you want to grow, you always have to be open to constructive criticism. And if you can't take it, first you need to work on that and being able to accept it, and then try and find someone that's going to give you that criticism, and it's going to make you cry, and it's going to hurt, because it's made me cry before, and it's going to hurt, but it's going to make you that much better.
Well, it's almost like I think coaching and mentor, being a mentee, mentors kind of goes hand in hand, right? And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things if you're going to be a mentee is you have to be coachable. If you're not going to be coachable, then don't waste anybody's time, and don't go off and do it. If you think that you know everything, then don't waste anybody's time, And I'll tell you, the people that think that they know everything, generally the people that don't know that much,
Yeah.
A nice way to say it.
Yes. Yeah, I think that was one of the things I didn't realize I was so good at, was just being so coachable and open, and just letting everyone know, hey, I'm going to ask you the questions that I feel I need to ask, because there's questions that I just need to think them through some more, but then there's questions that I actually need to ask, and I'm going to ask you because I realize how ignorant I am.
Well, here's what I'll also tell you. If you don't think that you need help, or you don't think that you need a mentor or coaching or things like that, some of the biggest people not only in this business but in the world are constantly doing training or constantly getting mentorship. Like if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's, there's a reason why that saying exists, and so if you're not constantly trying to get better, if you're not constantly trying to grow where you're at, I mean, eventually you're gonna fall behind on the times, and so it's nice to surround yourself with people who have been there, done that, and are constantly growing, and and are going to be able to basically give you the blueprint to success.
Right.
No reason to rip off and duplicate.
I agree. I mean, you have to be open, and if you are open, you're going to attract that much better of a mentor or a coach. So I think it's about proving yourself by showing them that, one, you're willing to, that you're coachable, that you're willing to take, that hard criticism, that you're going to be open to, shifting or changing whatever it is that they advise you on doing, or switching up, because you have to prove that you're actually worth their time.
Oh, of course. Nobody wants to have their time wasted, and that's one of the biggest things. And you don't want to get your time wasted. So, they want to see that you're going to take the advice that they're going to give you. So what's going to happen is if you go off and never listen to what they say, and you're constantly doing the same things, and you're coming back and asking the same questions time and time again, they're going to stop helping you.
Yep.
And they're going to ignore your calls. They're going to ignore your text. And they're going to go, dude, why would I help you if that's the case,
Right. And typically it's probably because you don't want to put in the work that it takes to, whatever they're advising you on is probably going to be something difficult. Not necessarily hard work, but maybe just something hard to do, something that you have a self-limiting belief around and that you just can't push through. And they can only coach you so much if you're not going to take the action, if you're not going to just, move forward and do the hard stuff that needs to be done, which goes back to proving yourself and proving to them that you're worth coaching. Like, they don't have to coach you. No one has to coach you. No one has to mentor you. The world doesn't owe you anything just for showing up, right? Like, you actually have to earn people's time and people's energy.
Oh yeah, they have to know that you're worth their time, energy, and effort, because generally they're taking time away from their family, their business, other money producing activities that they can be doing to pour into you. That's if somebody's going to do that, that's a huge honor, and you have to almost reward that.
You better better add some sort of value.
Exactly. You have to return the value in some aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And returning that value is taking what they say, going off and doing it, and reaping the benefits from that.
Yeah.
I would say the number one mistake people make is that they go off and either they get into, they go and try to find mentors that don't align with their visions or their goals, or how they do things, right? For instance, in right now, both of our mentors, we run a prospecting based business. Well, if we go follow somebody that exclusively does open houses, well, that'd be pretty dumb.
Yeah.
We're not aligning with what our goals and where our business is aligned to begin with.
I'm already looking at the wrong mentor to begin with. Yeah, so you have to be able, you have to get along with them, and I think it's almost someone that you would have been friends with outside of your business relationship. Because yes, your mentor can coach you, and you're gonna take off running with that and implement everything they advise and just do everything perfectly. But if there's something off about just you guys personally, that relationship can only grow so much. And a mentorship is a big deal. It's a huge relationship. I think it's one of the most important relationships you'll have in a lifetime is a good mentor.
No, And I think you definitely hit the nail on the head. It's one of those things that if you don't have the similar personality, if you don't click, it makes it hard to open up about what you're struggling with, to be that because you almost have to be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to take that layer off and say, like, hey, I'm struggling. Like, this is what I'm struggling with. This is the rock in my shoe. I need your help.
Yeah.
And you have to, and that's the other thing. You have to be able to admit, hey, I need help. And that's not, that sounds horrible, but it's not like that, right? Like, it's like right now, we both did a lot of business last year, but at the same time, I'll also be the first one to tell you, like, there are so many things I need help on,
Oh, we all do. No, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we all need help all the time in business and in life. And your mentor, for the most part, again, is going to probably coach you, I argue, more on life than they are going to do in your business, because whatever you're doing, like, in your personal life is going to flow right into your business. So for the most part, I think whatever thoughts or, obstacles you're having, a lot of them are going to be, they're going to be you being very vulnerable. And so
yes,
this is going to be, it's a mentorship, but I truly think it's more of a friendship where, like you said, a big brother, big sister relationship.
Yeah, well, and I think we can both talk to personal experiences, right? Like, I'll tell you, I didn't have a mentor until I joined the team. Obviously, Nick, I would consider Nick to be my mentor at this point, and I'll tell you, like, if Nick and I didn't mesh on those personalities, like, I wouldn't be able to open up to him and ask him about a lot of those things, and we wouldn't be able to have the hard conversations that we do have, Not every single one of Nick and I's phone calls end with roses and
fun.
Yeah, none of them they're not always fun. I would say at the end of the day, whenever we reflect back, and I'm like, all right, I got a little too emotional about that, but it helps though, because after I do stop being a little emotional, I take a step back and I go, okay, let's analyze like what he just said. It makes me go back and say, okay, hey, what he said is 100% correct. I do need to go back there and do this. And I will say 95% of the time that he tells me to do stuff and I actually do it, I see positive results.
Yeah. And those are going to be the best conversations that you're going to have with your mentor, are going to be the most uncomfortable ones, the ones where you're like, oh, man, that hurt, or I really don't want to do that, or, like, for the most part, those are going to be the ones that you're going to grow from the most, and you're going to learn from the most. I don't know if we talked about this also, but also make sure that you're asking the right questions. Like, you're not just approaching them with every thought that crosses your mind. Like, think through, because they're also investing, like you said, their time and their energy into you, and that's very valuable. So if you're going to ask something, make sure you think it through. Make sure that it's, that you're not going to wear them out with that.
What type of questions would you ask, right? Because if we're going to hit on this, what type of questions do you think are important questions to ask for a mentor?
So in our particular line of like being in real estate, I'm not going to ask him to help me run a comp, right?
Of course.
But I am going to ask him, like, hey, man, I don't know. I've just been out of my funk because this is happening at home, and it's just taking up so much mental energy, and I see that now I just can't lead generate as many hours as I usually do. And again, that's a very vulnerable question, because I'm probably going to let them know what's going on at home, just because that's just going to allow them to give me better insight. They're going to have more insight, and they're going to be able to mentor and coach me that much better.
One, and you kind of hit, you're where you went with that is I think everybody can take something from that. It's you don't ask those basic questions that you can, that Google can answer, or that that you already have the material to answer. You answer questions that, hey, these are things that how to do, and I'm going to pick your brain on how to do this. I can say there's been numerous questions I've asked in the past that have been huge, right? Like I've asked about, hey, how do you maintain a work-life balance, right? That's a tough one. I've asked, hey, I'm struggling with this objection. Like, how would you answer this? I'd say, hey, like as of recently, I had a question of, hey, like I really want to scale. How do I do this in a smart way?
Yeah.
And so if you ask those type of questions, that's what a mentor is there for, is to carry you through those tough times. And here's the other thing, you are who you surround yourself with. And if you surround yourself with successful people, that success is going to follow you. And they're giving you the blueprint to have success.
Yes.
Don't go off and recreate the wheel, rip off and duplicate. Like that is the name of the game.
And be grateful for it. Like show them that you're grateful. Give them, let them know that you are thankful for them and for because again, I argue like you can grow on your own without a mentor or a coach, but you can grow a lot faster, and you're going to be happier and just and you're going to learn a lot more from obviously someone that's already done it. For example, in my case, like right now, I have a family member, I have a cousin that's working on one of my flips, and I'm running into issues, and it's a family member, I can't just approach anyone with that sort of question or that sort of problem that I'm having. Because also these are your mentor. You may not spend a lot of time with this person. You may only see them like once a month or once a week or whatever. We have the luxury, yes, of being in business with our mentors. So we see them probably every day. But that's not the case for everyone. Not everyone is going to have their mentor every day. So if you only see them once a month or once a week or whatever that schedule looks like, they're still going to know you more after the conversations that you have initially than a random stranger or a friend that you think is you might be a good friend of yours, but because they haven't been through the struggles that you're going through, they're not going to understand, and they're not going to know really how to. They might answer the question, but your mentor is going to know you better, and by knowing you better and knowing what you're going through is going to be able to better advise you, especially with difficult situations like the one I'm going through right now.
That goes back to asking the right questions to find the right mentor, because I'm going to tell you, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion on what you should be doing, what you're doing wrong, what you should do this, you should do that. And so, and that's why it's like you said, you don't want to just take advice from anybody. You don't want just anybody to be your mentor. You want and you want somebody that's going to fit what you're looking for, and if you are comfortable with having somebody that you only touch base with a week, once a month, then that's, rock on, that's for you. But that's I think what you just said completely ties it back into, asking the right questions in the upfront, finding the right mentor is critical, and it's important, and that's where those visions and those experiences and things like that, they all have to line up so that you guys can go through and have that success that you're looking for.
Yeah, and I would end up with also be careful with not getting over-coached and over-mentored, because you can fall into that trap of maybe you think, okay, well, now I have, I have my personal coach, and then I have my business coach, and then I have this, like you said, everyone has an opinion. And if you start listening to everyone's opinion, you're going to get scattered.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And then it's going to be conflicting because everyone is going to advise you differently. So you just have to, I am not saying you are going to do everything that your mentor says and you should do everything that your mentor tells you to do. Like maybe they, not that they're wrong, but maybe it's not what you need to be doing in that moment. But also be careful about not being, not taking on too many mentors or too many coaches if you have that ability to do so. And in a lot of businesses, there are a lot of people. At the end of the day, every person that has been, I think, successful in business wants to help others succeed.
That feeds into a great next point. I want to segue this. I think there's also a responsibility, right? Like, if we want to get like real poetic, we can be like, with great power comes great responsibility. There's a certain aspect to this that you should be paying it forward. If people are going to pour into you, you should return the favor for people later on, right?
Because if it comes naturally to you. Yes, but you're right. I think it is a responsibility of us, just as, kind human beings, is to be kind to others. And because we've succeeded in business, well, our way of showing, of being kind to others is going to be to teach them and to mentor them.
Yeah. And here's the thing though, you don't even have to take on a full-on mentorship role, all right? Like if you've got agents that are reaching out to you and want to see how you got to where you're at, like, give them the tips and tricks. There's enough business out there
More than
that
enough.
that if you don't, that you and I can share ideas, and I promise you, we're not stealing each other's business. We're both gonna be, successful.
Unless
we're both
I
gonna
call
be
your
good.
seller.
Exactly. Unless you call my seller, and then I'll shoot you a text. But that's the biggest thing is I think that there's definitely a responsibility to pay it forward and return the favor.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. Well, I mean, I could go on for. I have the amazing luxury to have two awesome mentors, Brian and Matt, who I'm forever grateful for. But I think we could end it with that.
Yep.
Just find a mentor that you vibe with, and that you're gonna listen to, and that you're gonna actually bring value to.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Youngest Real Estate Podcast. If you can like, share, and subscribe, and come back for another episode next week.